Hey people, Sseth here. The zone gives, and the zone takes. It gives acute radiation poisoning, which forces me to chain smoke Lucky Strikes and run around in a drunken haze. And it takes my sanity, as the anomalous object strapped to my belt sends Discord notifications directly to my brain, which is preferable because each time it makes me tweak out, I have to reload. And each time I attempt my driving practical, I fail to correctly yield at the poltergeist and fail my examination. Why are we here? Because being paid the equivalent of $50 to dodge mutants while unjamming my shotgun seemed like a good idea. Until I got burnt, irradiated, shocked, sucked off, and soaked in the rain. My gas mask is more shard than glass, and the last artifact I found tried to eat me instead. I'm broke, tattered, and hungry, but at least I can see my next meal. Sometimes the winning move is none at all. Why work when everyone does it for you? Forget the journey. I'm just here for a paycheck. What faction even is this? I have less than I started with, and the only possession I ever had just got stolen by a telepathic hobbit. As I realize I've misclicked and accidentally eaten raw meat, I look at a photo of my boy wife. One last time. But it's not all bad. Each day brings a beautiful morning, and I've saved enough money to buy a new pager. Strange. Feels a little heavy. Remember, everything you ever do online is recorded. Even if you think to delete it, it's all being saved for future opposition researchers for when you finally try to make something of your life. But, between you and me, I know you would never say anything weird. However, we don't know what's considered too much by the people of tomorrow. Maybe our next generation of oligarchs made it big off a 6-7 rug pull. So, now you're forced to live life in the shadows, lest your new crypto overlords find one of your myriad posts mocking them for falling for the most obvious rug pull since Hogtua. 61. Kind of like Roko's basilisk, but if Roko was repeatedly dropped on their head as a baby. This future must not come to pass. Download ExpressVPN. Every online activity goes for your IP address, and every site is writing it down. One little number may not seem too compromising, but think about how many websites you give your personal information to. After all, you can't use Amazon without an address. All it takes is for one of these companies to sell your data, and boom, all of your personal information and post history are now easily accessible in one massive database. ExpressVPN protects you by routing all of your online traffic through a secure encrypted tunnel. Whenever I want to post something that the enlightened thinkers of a future might take issue with, I just open the app, pick a country, and connect. Now, my burner accounts are truly anonymous, and thanks to ExpressVPN, I don't have to worry about getting put in a soul gem for posting Sam Altman as a rat trapped in a bubble. Find out how you can get 4 extra months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Sseth. Stalker Anomaly is a standalone total conversion that merges the original free games. Stalker Gamma is more than 550 configurable mods on top of Anomaly, and the best experience I've ever had. However, missing a single step in the free hour installation botches the whole process and puts you right back to the beginning. In response, GOG developed a single-click installation that handles everything. If you own a copy of Call of Pripyat, the Enhanced Edition, or Stalker 2 on GOG, you can add Stalker Gamma to your library. I've put them on sale. If you're too late for the sale, buy a CD key. If you can't afford a CD key, steal everything and install it manually. It's performance heavy, so while you're at it, find your nearest /r/PC Master Race meetup, find out where they live, and rob them at gunpoint. I recommend formatting the SSD immediately, as it most definitely contains Lolicon. The Zone has a mind of its own, where everything works exactly as intended. Just don't Alt-Tab during a load screen or you lose audio. And make sure you finish Lab X19 in one go, because that timer doesn't reset and you can accidentally softlock yourself. And if you spent the last hour searching for a story artifact that can't be found, that's because it's been thrown out of map bounds by a graph anomaly, and your only option is spawning it yourself using the debugging console. Despite all this is still surprisingly stable. Now let's get to the meat of it. You can start as any of the major factions. Would you like to be left alone as the whole map chimps out? Become a scientist. Would you like to do crime? Join the bandits. Would you like to do organized crime? Join the government. But to experience most of the story content, you'll want to stick to something neutral. For a second playthrough, just turn on Warfare and play whatever. Unless it's Renegade, which is a documented form of self-harm. The Zone exists to the present day. Of 28 2018, the brain scorcher has been reactivated, and anyone getting too close is subjected to blah-dee music. Those who listen become mindless husks. Those who understand the lyrics join the ever-surging ranks of monolith. The UN and NATO have cracked down on arms trafficking. A gun is worth as much as the rust that's on it. Nothing new is coming in, and everything already here is scrap metal. Welcome to Gamma's progression system. It's actually very simple when you get down to it. None of your actions have any monetary value unless someone's paying. Luckily, there's a dynamic mission system, which ties into a sophisticated sandbox simulation that results in complete chaos. Take a request to clear out mutants. Complete it automatically because the AI did it for you. Take a delivery. Fail because your client took a shotgun to the face. Click every job on the task board without looking and get very surprised as you hear the approaching rotors of a Ukrainian military. Situations arise and coincidence stacks together to create interactions that are more ridiculous and bizarre than any scripted event.
Monolith.
This is not an exaggeration. Anything can happen, and nothing is static. Anomalies move, radiation patches migrate, and factions go to war with one another all in the course of a day. Act like a scumbag, and you'll end up in a body bag, as even your own faction would sooner kill a traitor than an enemy. Build a trustworthy reputation, and traitors will offer better supplies and ammunition. And for the rest, you're on your own. Perform enough work, and your clients will ping the location of a rare stash. These contain a random set of tools. When everything is garbage, your only option is to fix it. Guns are a series of parts that can be field stripped, cleaned, and swapped out, unless they're completely trashed, in which case you need a full replacement. Lack of maintenance results in mechanical failure, while dirty, warped, or broken barrels turn bullets into glorified confetti. Equipment works a little differently. The condition and stats is the average durability of each component. Past a certain threshold, you can't repair directly, and the only way to restore them is by replacing the individual parts. But everything I've described requires the appropriate repair kit for that category or complexity of gear, which can only be made with the appropriate set of tools. This is how Gamma incentivizes the player to go north. To progress, we have to push deeper towards the heart of the zone, which is why I didn't get expert tools until 100 hours in, because I spent all my time building an incel bunker in the middle of Rostock. Virtually every challenge I've ever faced is an opportunity to engineer a solution. For example, I have a natural propensity for hoarding, which is why I craft and equip the highest possible carry capacity and still get overloaded. But with the help of my trusty chemistry set, I can take a bump of cocaine off my knife and sprint at 200 beats per minute for the next few hours. This works up an appetite, so I hotkey a bag of peanuts for consumption on the go. This is truly the most immersive experience. I tune up a G36, only to realize that every trader willing to sell to me is from a Warsaw Pact, so they don't carry 5.56 NATO. Not a problem. As long as I have the appropriate casing, propellant, and projectile, I can hand-load it myself. But bullets are expensive, so I disguise myself as a hoodlum, build a 3x3 box fort to encase my body, and as one of them passes by, I deconstruct it and stab them in the face. In Gamma, you die quickly, and you die a lot. A single dog bite is a third of your health bar. If you don't have a bandage or anticoagulants, it'll quickly drop to 0. The camp isn't far, but your leg is completely raw, and running will only cause more fractures. So your best option is to reflect on your mistakes. Limbs take damage based on the location of the impact, with a multitude of fun and engaging disabilities. Treatment is a two-step process. We administer first aid to temporarily stop the symptoms, and to make the results permanent, we inject fentanyl. The success or failure of my expedition is decided entirely by the raw quantity of fent needles inside my inventory. But sometimes, you can't outsmart the zone. If the sirens start blaring and comms suddenly go down, hide. Emissions and psi storms are the zone's reminder. We don't belong here. However, right after a blowout is the best time to hunt for artifacts, as anomaly fields soak the energy and result in their formation. Artifacts in Stalker are a bunch of passive stats. Artifacts in Gamma let you kick pseudo-giants to death and turn the game into Dark Messiah. Reverse the vector of approaching projectiles. Solo the entire late game with a fire axe. Reward your accuracy by accelerating each bullet faster than the last, until you accidentally miss, in which case your head explodes. Or sign a pact with a zone, which is completely irreversible, forcing you to feed it until there's nothing left to give. Except yourself. But I wouldn't worry about that, because it's time for another sacrifice. Remember, the clock is ticking. Artifacts are now amazing possibilities that end in death or glory. The same is true of anomalies. The base game could be described as a cluster of fart clouds, causing the infliction of incredible gassy, and your subsequent demise. Compare this to a single anomaly in Gamma, which I can use to escape pursuing enemies, by temporarily pausing my existence, and causing a time dilation several hours into the future. And unlike the sequel, mutants actually have value. Oh, succulent cooked dog, delicious, washed down with mineral spring, watered with blood of dragon, and herbal remedy infused with urine of incel virgin boy. That is, until you figure out all your needs can be met by copious amounts of Monster Energy Zero Ultra. And from there, you'll never have to sleep again. Look, I'm not going to explain why a fracture's body contains marijuana. If you're going to take issue with a realism, explain female stalkers. Strugatsky stated clearly in the lore, there's no women in the zone, because their menstrual cycles would sync up and wreak havoc in the sewer system. You can tell Gamma's priorities by the fact that there's an entire keyboard dedicated to switching between the side rail and the iron sights, configuring your red dot, turning on the infrared camera, switching the fire select, clearing a jam, relaxing your stance to show non-aggression, putting on your gen-free night vision, configuring its sensitivity, and rotating your neck without moving. This is tactical gun autism, because there's more than 100 fully accurate reproductions from World War II to the modern era, to which you can attach real-world scopes, suppressors, and underbarrel launchers. And it doesn't stop there, because I didn't include tactical conversions that fundamentally modify the entire frame. This is the whole point of Gamma, paying 200,000 rubles for a smuggled Raytheon thermal scope, so I can 10x zoom on a toilet in pitch darkness and appreciate the individual skid marks left behind. At night, the humble duende comes out to forage. As they are small and unbaptized, a single bullet sends him straight to hell, where he belongs. I've played with the default configurations, and I was just fine. Granted, I ran out of matches at the start and I couldn't save, but if you can't stay alive for even 3 minutes since your last quick save, maybe you shouldn't be here. PC gamers be like, quick save, quick load, when dad starts beating mom. Maybe this time she can survive the encounter, as she dodge rolls his belt pattern. But unlike Mother, we don't have to play victim. If you wanted to quick save normally, just open Mod Organizer and untick the plugin. If you want to tweak any of the individual settings, you can change many of them in the mod configuration menu. After all, it's your experience, and there's no one to criticize you. I know this too well. Over 10 years ago, I was playing a roguelike on a train, and of all the worst things to happen, a Polish man caught me save scumming by deleting the folder and restoring a backup, and he simply shook his head in disappointment. This caused untold generational trauma, for which I am still seeking reparations. I've come a long way from stale bread and canned tomatoes. Now I roll with my squad, as they glitch out and fail to correctly execute a bandit. Andre, take 5 and watch me hit this dart. We can use your Save a helmet as a bong to recirculate the THC. In summary, I love Gamma and I thoroughly recommend it. I no longer care for my responsibilities. It's consumed my life, and all I want to do is hunt artifacts for below minimum wage. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. Merry Christmas.
Удачной охоты, сталкер.